Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Real Talk. I am Dan Edwards with Keller Williams Realty and the Eastside Real Estate Team. It is Wednesday, August 19th, and I'm really glad you joined us today. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Keep it, of course, like clean, right? This is a family show. We've got a great show for you. If you want to check out some of our past segments, you can find us on both YouTube or our website, theeastsiderealestateteam.com. Simply Google the eastsiderealestateteam.com and you can follow or subscribe to us, whatever you want to do. But we do have a great show. We're going to talk about a couple of things. First off, we will be welcoming Amanda Peterson and Dani Leggett, who are our closing team with WFG Title and Escrow, and Doug Peterson, who's a regular guru, coach, connoisseur of fine foods and friends, but not in that order, maybe sometimes inverted. But he'll be talking about how to save up and some of the tips and tricks to getting more out of your checkbook. That'll be later. But first, we're going to have some Real Talk. So let's start with our Real Talk segment. And I am going to share a very nifty PowerPoint that I created just moments ago for the show. I hope you can all see that. Can my guests see that there? Yeah, you guys all see it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Good to go.
Great. All right. So, and Amanda, you're muted. So if you happen to say anything, we won't know unless you unmute yourself.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So let's talk about the market turnaround. Now I've got some jaw-dropping charts to show you. Check this one out right here. Oh, wait, there it is. All right, so this is the recovery. So this is what's happened in the housing market, and these are national numbers to give you kind of a baseline. February was kind of where we were headed, and we kind of had this anticipated run-up, right? Because February is when we knock the snow off our boots, the rain kind of sets in, and we start thinking about finding greener pastures. And of course, we all know 2020 hit a absolute dumpster fire head on with no helmet, no pads, nothing, and took a digger, right? So it went all the way down there. You guys all felt that, right? I mean, not just the effects on our economy and that, but in the housing market, right?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say a lot of March was just trying to figure out what was going to come next, right?
Yeah.
So of course we kind of went sailing along there, and I think we all noticed. I know for myself, it kind of felt towards the last 2 weeks in April where the realization set in that people were sick and tired of their homes. They had knocked around them as much as they could. They'd improved some of the things that they knew they could, right? Everybody ran to Home Depot and all that stuff. And finally, some of them just said, yeah, it's time to upgrade. It's time to move. There's a big motion that happened. Now, what the outcomes of that, as you can see, we're in July, and these numbers are just through July, but you can basically see that we're back to the same kind of market that, and actually we were still below what that market was. And I've got a localized chart because it's a national chart, but we're a little bit below that. Do you guys feel like we're basically in what feels like May, June in a normal market? Does it feel that way to you, Dani? Does it feel that way to you, Amanda?
Currently or
Yeah,
in April?
currently.
Oh,
Like
well,
it feels like the amount of closings is in May, June.
yes, definitely. Yeah. I think a lot of people before, like once school is out, that's when they kind of start getting ready to move and sell or buy or, get, especially if they have kids. So it's picking up. Definitely.
It's picking up. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, here's the big perk, right? So one of the things that we have seen as a result of the one thing that I think has been the most steady, and Doug, I don't know if you watch, interest rates or mortgage market or anything like that, but the interest rates have been absolutely steady. And by steady, I mean low. So this is the chart for the National Association of Realtors, the MBA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all of them project interest rates. And they all have been below the threes and project them to stay that way. So that's a really great incentive for a lot of people that at 4.5% were priced out of our market, that these markets have opened up for them. What I've noticed too is people are jumping to a higher price point. So in the past, they'd be okay with they'd be stretching to get a $300,000 or $400,000 home. Well, this extra buying power is actually pushing them up to the $500,000.
Huge. Yeah.
It's pretty incredible to see the effect, because we've seen condos in the 300s not selling because people are wanting to get into houses. They don't necessarily want to go to another apartment. The whole idea of making that move was to get in a house where it had a little more elbow room, right? It wasn't so close to people there. So now there's a great perk here for the sellers. Take a look at this nationwide chart. Now, we were looking and we were charting these numbers in September, where that was kind of like curious last year, is to see September have a year-over-year reduction of inventory, and then that run through to December, because normally those 2 months actually see a softening or a lessening of inventory and buyers, which means it kind of starts to balance out, but that didn't happen. And then look at December and then January. Now, the February and March was what we were talking about, right? That was that big kind of catching your breath and understanding what was going to happen as a result of the current economic crisis. And then look at April, just boom. April took a digger, May took a digger, June took a digger, and we know July as well here in the Northwest. I think our numbers were on the east side were about 29% year-over-year inventory in July. So again, another year-over-year reduction of inventory. So sellers have a tremendous advantage. And then this last chart before I end our Real Talk segment is this. This is the Market Action Index. So this is the market activity as it kind of flows. Each data point is an active, pending, or sold. So as you look at this, you can see November, like I had mentioned, inventory was year over year, starting to reduce, and we had good market activity, and that was because interest rates were low. And then we hit the pandemic, and market activity kept going up. Isn't that crazy? Now,
it sure did. Yep.
It's weird for me to see the contraction between April and July, and then boom, it just jumped out again. Here's my prediction for the fall. Tell me what you guys think of this. Is because parents aren't tied down to a school district anymore for maybe the next 6 months, it's quite possible that the buying season, with interest rates being low, continues until at least November, December. I don't see any pullback on that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely would agree, especially with how things are now and just the volume of resales that we're seeing that have increased in the past 2 months. I think it's going to be a long summer too, so that will help. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a longer year in real estate, as traditionally in Washington, it stops around September.
Yeah, that second bump there that goes from July to now, I mean, that makes sense. And the funny thing is because inventory is being so low, it actually keeps buyers in the market longer. And now they're teaching their kids from home. It's not like a hurry up and get in that home, because as the kids start school, if they find the perfect home in November, they can move there and still finish their school year where they are,
right,
and not probably miss too much for that matter. So yeah, low inventory, high buyer demand, things should continue. And here's my final thought on the market is I think our outlook for the short term is fantastic. It's the long term that most are concerned on. So many of the people that I talk to, buyers or sellers, are saying, well, I'm going to think about it in the future. And if you're planning and you're putting stuff in place for the future, absolutely great. But if you're a seller and you can sell now, I would encourage you to consider it. The market needs your inventory, actually. Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes my Real Talk segment. If you're interested in this and other topics, you can certainly Google the Eastside Real Estate Team. And if you'd like to talk to us directly, you can call us at 425-200-4093. We thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Come right back after this short break. We will be going a little bit deeper with Amanda Peterson and Dani Leggett of WFG National Title and Escrow, and discuss how the title and escrow has adapted during the COVID pandemic. I'm Dan Edwards with the Eastside Real Estate Team. We'll be right back after this short break.
The pest stops here.
Green City Pest Control is your full-service pest solution for all your pest control needs. With an owner with 32 years experience, a board-certified entomologist, and rodent specialist, we do it all. Bats to rats, crawl space, or attic. Call us and we will resolve your problem. 425-413-9700.
Welcome back. You're watching Real Talk with Dan Edwards at the Eastside Real Estate Team. Our guests today are Amanda Peterson and Dani Leggett with WFG National Title. So Dani comes with over a decade of escrow experience, and her career with WFG began as the front office coordinator in the Puyallup branch. Since then, Dani has been very effective stabbing her friends in the back on the way to the top. I'm just joking.
Thanks, Dan.
Working hard as a successful escrow closer / LPO. Amanda, though, has worked for WFG in the business development manager for the last 7 years. She's a proven track record of success, and she's always there to help agents out, help them improve their business, help them be better for the consumer, and demonstrates that through leadership, and really is one of the top folks in her field. I can't say enough good things. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put us on gallery view, which means, Doug, you get to be an observer here, and just kind of, if you have a follow-up question, feel free to pop it in. If you want to put on your funny hat, you can do that too. But we're gonna roll with this. So let's talk about how WFG is handling the closing of real estate transactions with the current COVID crisis.
I like that, Doug. I have to say, honestly, I feel like when COVID hit, I feel like WFG is probably in one of the best positions that we could be in. A couple of years ago, our CEO, Pat, had a larger vision for the company, and we actually moved to a virtual platform, which at the time, there was a bit of a learning curve. But now with COVID, with 85% of our employees working from home, the transition's been seamless. We really haven't seen many hiccups with our escrow closers working from home and whatnot. So in that regard, I think that we've handled the situation very, very well.
So when you said virtual platform, I guess I was just thinking like transaction management. What you're saying is your entire interface from your who's working to where you're working is all virtual.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, Dani can elaborate on that a little bit more because she does it. She's in the system all day.
Yeah, so we, when COVID first hit and it was kind of like, what is everyone doing about work? We need to cut down on human contact. We immediately went down to 50% humans in every office, with other protocols in place, obviously COVID friendly. But because we all work on the same system daily, it's just such an intelligent system. We can work remotely, and still be as productive as we were as working in an office. And there was definitely some pressure and some growing pains at first, but once we all got the hang of it, I mean, it's been very, very eye-opening for all of us to realize that we can be as productive at home as we are in the office, and just communicating with clients, communicating with customers, communicating with our teammates. It's been seamless, and it's been very, very successful. And it's been awesome to see our company just have this eye-opening situation due to COVID that we can do this. Like we set a record as a company in May, set another one in June, and we're going to set another one in July. And it's just been incredible. I mean, busiest time we've ever had during an epidemic. So
with all of that being virtual and online, how are you protecting buyers and sellers? Because there's a lot of confidential information flying around.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Our network is secure. And so even if people are logging in from home, their home internet, we have to remote into the secure network that our company provides us, via laptop or a desktop from home. So it's still all based out of our corporate office with the security in place, even with the home internet.
And then how are you signing buyers and sellers? Are they all coming into the office still?
No.
So go ahead, Amanda.
what we're trying to do is minimize the any apprehension that consumers, whether it be buyer or sellers, feel in regards to signings. In regards to sellers, we actually have a great opportunity to offer to most sellers what we refer to as remote online notary, or RON. And essentially what that is, it's what we're doing right now. It's like a Skype version of a notary.
Mm-hmm.
And so with COVID, it's actually worked wonderfully because consumers are a little apprehensive about having a notary come into their home or coming to our office. So that's been an option for most sellers that we've been able to provide to them. On the buyer side, our hands are a bit tied because if they're getting a loan, at this point, there's very few lenders. There's a couple, but very few lenders that will allow for e-signing. So we will have to accommodate, whether it be a notary that comes to their home, obviously following all of the COVID protocol of masks and whatnot, or what we've done, we've actually dedicated some conference spaces in our building that are what we call basically sterile zones. So they get wiped down after every single signing. We also encourage, we try to encourage any of the signing appointments to be essentially just the buyer and the seller. I know a lot of times brokers like to attend signings or whatnot, but because of the situation we're in, we're having them FaceTime or whatnot if they have questions.
Oh, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
So Dani, for you, okay, here's a major problem in the real estate transaction. I already know the answer to this, but I'm asking the question.
Okay.
How many has ordered a pizza here? Raise your hand if you've ordered a pizza before. Okay. So one of the things that Domino's did that was pretty ingenious is they created a little app for your phone where you can follow the progress of your pizza. And for real estate, and I know Keller Williams is very close to having this completed. I'm looking under the hood for what we've got, but it's been a main reason why we always use WFG for our closing services is to have that real time where you're at in the transaction. So how does WFG solve that problem, that knowing where the consumer is in real time in the process of their transaction?
Yeah, so we have a dashboard called My Home. It's a consumer dashboard for buyers, sellers, and then also agents and lenders to follow along with their transaction in real time. We actually just upgraded it a bit. It's even more fancy now. We have an online seller information and buyer information aspect that was added to the My Home dashboard, cutting down on paper. Wonderful. So clients can actually log into their My Home dashboard, fill in their questionnaire so that we can process the file, order payoffs, and it can literally be done within minutes, when it used to be like print the documents, fill them out, gather the information, scan them back to us. So it's just, My Home's always been a wonderful, wonderful tool that we've offered to our clients and customers. But through COVID, I think it's just added that additional security to buyers and sellers, especially, that they can follow along their transaction. They can watch their pizza be cooked and delivered, and ask questions when something doesn't look right, or if their pepperoni's missing, they can email us and ask a question, but they're really in control of the transaction, and sometimes they keep us on point, honestly.
Is it mobile or just
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 85% of consumers are going to look at it on their mobile device. So that was the first thing that we did. And really, we wanted to do that because, obviously we know title and escrow. The average consumer has no idea. I joke that my husband doesn't even know what I do. So by providing them transparency through their transaction, which is really kind of what consumers are used to, right? Like you said, tracking your pizza, tracking your Amazon package. Why shouldn't they be able to track their largest investment? So yeah, it's worked well.
Okay, so two more questions. The first one is probably for you, Dani. What are the most common questions that buyers and sellers have at signing appointments?
I think the most common question a client will have when setting up a signing is, what are your safety protocols? What are you doing to keep me safe? And what can I do to keep your notary safe? And the answer to that would be, just to follow up on what Amanda said earlier, we definitely want to be able to give the clients the real experience of buying or selling a home, even though we're in the middle of this pandemic. So we've created the safe signing rooms. We have 3 offices that are currently open for signings. And then everything else, we've done everything from signing people, they've stayed in their car, the notary's been outside of the car. We've done drop-off signings where the notary just hands the documents to the client or leaves them on the porch, sits, and then they talk on the phone, answer any questions, go over the documents. If the client's really concerned and doesn't want any contact, which we totally respect and appreciate. But it's just about the safety and what are we doing to make sure that everyone is safe.
I mean, my most common question is like, when do I get my check? I mean, sellers are like, when do we get our check? You know?
Well, yes, there's that too. But yeah.
Okay. And lastly, county seems to be working with a limited crew, and they're not allowing foot traffic. How do you guys record documents right now?
So WFG has been e-recording documents for 3 years now. Sorry, I don't know the exact number, but we are able to e-record in Snohomish, King, and Pierce County, also Thurston County, sorry. And something that WFG has always had, but we've really had to implement it during this time just because of the volume with the county, and they're trying to keep up just like everyone else. And then also just with hiccups happening, it happens a lot. And we have gap coverage that we can offer to clients. If, for example, a refinance doesn't, it funded today, it didn't record, but we're going to make sure that we provide that gap insurance for our client, the lender, and also the borrower to ensure that title policy as of the day that it was funded, even though the county couldn't record it that day.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have for now. Thank you guys both for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Dani, I know you're super busy, so it really is great for you to take some time out of your day.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks.
So after this next break, we're going to be talking to Doug Peterson with Get Priorities Straight about getting your financial priorities straight, hence the term. Come on back after this short break.
Every business benefits from high-quality videos that greet their website visitors and immediately establish a connection on social media. While pictures and text are great at giving details, a video conveys emotion and draws your audience in. Unified Cinematic Videography works with companies large and small to advance their video marketing goals. More than just a video production company, they help you discover your story and share it in a way that resonates with your audience, producing videos that create curiosity and inspire action. Mention the Eastside Real Estate team and receive $500 off the website introduction video package on our website, regularly priced at $4,000. To learn more or schedule a free strategy session, visit unifiedcinematic.com.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Dan Edwards at the Eastside Real Estate team. And our next guest is Doug Peterson, who's been here a couple of times. I think this is your fourth time or third time, Doug?
Fourth time.
Fourth time's the charm. So with Get Priorities Straight, and he founded it in 2018 to provide a program to help individuals maximize your income, improve your ability to invest. And having funded and run 8 businesses, or funded and founded, 8 businesses. Doug's perfected a system that works regardless of industry, marital status, or income. He's currently working with Amazon managers, wealth managers, real estate professionals, attorneys, and technology professionals. Welcome back to the show, Doug. I hope we got some great topic here because I want to dig into, do you think that people are paying more or less attention to their personal finances right now?
Well, people do a lot more when they're in pain than when things are going well. I heard a quote that when things are going well, people party, and when things are going poorly, they ponder. So when people are facing financial challenges, they're certainly looking at it a lot more.
Okay, so more of a microscope, obviously trying to make some money stretch depending on your financial situation. Small businesses are especially hit hard right now. What are you telling them to pay attention to?
Right now, cash is king. People that are running businesses, especially small businesses, are often technicians, and they're very good at what they do, but they haven't been trained at business analytics to look at what are the trends, What do you need to do? When can you hire? When can you grow? If you have to shrink, where do you cut? Because you have to stay in business, and money is the blood of business. If you don't have enough, you won't keep going. So I'm telling them, just pay attention right now to what cash you can retain so that you can handle somebody being a slow pay, or if you're a realtor, a closing moving out, or some hiccup that we're in a time that we can't predict. And with confidence comes from predictability. That's easy to say, predictability. So the less we can predict, the less confidence there is.
So with regards to your coaching system, it's a combination of personal and professional. What would you say is the percentage of people where you're only coaching up like their personal finances that don't own businesses versus the ones where you're coaching somebody personally who also owns a business?
It's about 60% of people that are just individuals. And because your finances are so intertwined when you own a business, it's nearly impossible to manage it well if you're not managing the business well. Somebody that's getting a paycheck can count on their paycheck.
Right. One of the big ways that people can get in deep doo-doo is, what do they say? That there are only two things that are true in life and absolute musts, and that's death and taxes, right? So getting behind on taxes. I'm sure, because I'm actually very proud that this is one of the first years I didn't file an extension, okay? I actually paid on time. Now, keep that in mind that the date was pushed like 3 months. But, hey, semantics, right? Whatever. I paid them on time and filed on time and everything. But, that's a big deal. And it can be a huge anchor around somebody financially. So what advice do you have for people with regards to that are behind on taxes and they feel like they can't catch up?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is, and a lot of people don't know this, but if you're under $100,000 in debt, you can take your entire debt, divide it by 72, and the IRS will give you that payment. So often people will make a commitment to make a $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 payment, and they owe $80,000. Now all of a sudden it's only $750 at 4%. So they can pay off other debt and save their current tax bill and be ahead with less stress. But the main thing is, it's not your money. When you get a check for $100 and you're in business for yourself, you better save $25 of that, or $30, depending on your income bracket, so that you can pay your taxes. Because
wait, that's not my money?
It's not operating capital, Dan. It's just not. And a lot of people think of it as it is, because often business owners do something I call checkbook budgeting. We have money. We can afford it. But they haven't looked at all of their liabilities and their infrequent expenses and said, how much is left after we've covered those? Then they put themselves in a bind.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's some systems in place that will help people kind of manage that tax debt in addition to helping take care of their own personal debt, right?
Yeah, and in fact, it was interesting because I went to an IRS attorney I know who worked there for 14 years, started his own business as an IRS attorney independently 5 years ago, and asked him about this because I had a client that had that problem, and he told me this rule. By the way, it's over 100,000. It's 84 months. And once we finished the conversation, he goes, I've been in business for 5 years. I think I need to hire you. And so he hired me. And we have a great relationship because he's my go-to guy if there's something I can't figure out. So,
That's excellent.
so having the resources and knowing the people.
So what do you think about financial planner to get your finances in order?
Well, financial planners are great at helping you create a financial plan for your retirement future, to manage your investments, to help you figure out what products you need, life insurance, long-term care. What they do is take a snapshot of what your expenses are and say, well, then you must have the rest left to invest. What usually happens is people have a conversation of, well, you're making $16,000 a year or a month. We've identified 9,000. Where's the other 7? Well, I don't know, but we bought a car, we went on vacation, we bought a deck. And so people really don't know what it costs them to live. And financial planners don't help them with that at all.
All right, cool. So it's a combination is what you're telling me. Is you can't just have a one size fits all in order to do this. How do you differentiate the financial planner from an investment planner?
Well, again, financial plans are, let me figure out where your assets are, what your liabilities are, what your income is, what your goals are, and I'll lay out a plan. The asset manager or investment advisor, they're the ones that will take your assets and say, let's optimize those. Let's see how you can get the most return depending on your risk tolerance. And I don't get into any of that stuff. I understand it, but they're all highly regulated. And in fact, they couldn't be on your show because there's so many regulations of what they can say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not regulated. And also, I don't sell any products. So I can help people move toward the things that are the best advantage to them. Because often doing a refinance is a good idea for debt consolidation, but maybe you should do something else like borrow against your 401k, reduce all of your unsecured debt. I had one client, their credit score went up 136 points in 1 week.
Wow.
Obviously, Amanda, they got a little better interest rate
Yeah.
with their house refi. And it was huge. And all we did was roll it into a HELOC and then refinance the house from the HELOC. So
Right.
A lot more.
So, there's a definitely one thing that impressed me. I ran into a hairstylist in Arizona and was talking to her about the whole stimulus check and stuff like that. And the first thing she did when she got her first two were to pay off her debts. Right. After that, she said, I'm just going to save the rest of this extra that I'm getting for a down payment on a home. I was like, that's awesome. She's got her priorities set. She knows what she's doing. She really kind of took advantage in a good way of the situation that came to her. How many people making over 150,000 could say they have money set aside? In your experience, how many?
Well, there's a statistic that I have in a chart that was from a very accredited source. And it says that, actually, let me back up. The comment your hairdresser said of, I would do one thing differently. Before you pay off any debt, have an emergency fund.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have to be a ton, but have $1,000 to $5,000, kind of depending on your income. So if you have a hiccup. Mm-hmm. And then this chart was kind of interesting. 25% of people making over 150,000 don't have any extra cash for an emergency fund.
Wow.
And if you're making between 100 and 150 nationally, 36% don't have an emergency fund.
Oof. Yeah.
Which you lose a paycheck for a week or two. Look what happened with the government workers when they shut the government down. They were saying we can't live anymore.
Yeah, we got to move out. So money being as tight as it is, what's the first step somebody should take?
First step is to figure out where all your money's going. People don't want to do it. The program I use is called YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. People can hire me to help them, and I get it all set up and teach them how to run it, or they can do it themselves if they're short of money. But the idea is to embrace not only your monthly expenses, but also your true expenses, which are the infrequent expenses that go, oh my gosh, I needed a car repair. Every car takes $150 a month, no matter what car you drive, unless it's really expensive, it's more, for tires, brakes, etc. Even if it's pretty new, it just costs money. So you need to embrace those true expenses so you can save money every month, just like taxes, for Christmas, insurances, and car repairs. Vacations, the list goes on and on.
So tell me about some life change that you've seen happen over the years in your practice. And I know you've had it for now about two and a half years.
Well, I've been doing executive coaching and mentoring for over 20 years, and I did this for about 25 different people over my career, but not as a system and a program. That's what I launched 2 years ago. And the changes, and I launched it because I wanted to make a bigger impact in people's lives and just help them with their business. I think the biggest changes has been me personally, is my wife and I were never fighting about money, but we were never on the same page. And financial planners tell me 95% of the couples that they work with are not on the same page financially. When two people are working together in complete harmony around something like money, which often breaks up relationships, it's amazing how much nicer life is. So not only they're reaching their goals and they're teaching their kids how to do this, but they're talking about not you're spending too much, but what bucket's that going to come out of? The vacation bucket, the home improvement bucket, the emergency fund, it's the emotion is gone. And that's probably the biggest and best thing that I see happening, besides not wasting a lot of money about stuff they don't care about.
What is it? What is it? People spend a ton of money to impress people that that don't really know them, and that don't even care about them. You know, that's not the exact statement, but you get what I'm following. Is people spend money to impress people that has no impact on their lives, and I think we could all learn some lessons when it comes to having a plan. So if somebody wants to get a plan in place with Get Priorities Straight, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, my email is doug@getprioritiesstraight.com. And just give me a call and I can give you a free consultation. I'm at 206-264-4424. And if you're interested, I do a discovery process where we go in and look at your financial situation so I can help you create a roadmap of how much time, money, and energy it'll cost to reach your goals.
Awesome. So, Doug, you're a regular guest on our show, and I know we'll have you back for lots of different times and topics, but it's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks so much. Love being
Thanks
here.
for coming on. All right. So after this break, which we won't have, let's just close it out with final thoughts. So sports. I'm just going to bring that up here since it's kind of a lost leader this year, right? Anybody watched any Mariners games?
No.
Doug?
I'm a Mariners fan. Sorry.
Okay, well, you wouldn't be even now because I think they've won 6 games. And it's not fun. I think we need to consider reinventing some sports. You guys got any ideas on sports that would be fun to watch in the pandemic that we just don't make a big deal out of it because they're not that in-person spectacle? Like curling, for example, right? I mean, we could go there. I just don't know if I want to. Now, rugby started up. They're playing in England right now, rugby, and there's no fans or anything like that. But it's actually a real harbinger to see how rugby goes and whether or not we'll have NFL football. I know college football will be pushed, but Amanda, what sport that hasn't currently been super popular do you think would work really well during a pandemic?
Just from a social distancing standpoint?
Maybe, or it's just one that's always on but nobody watches, but maybe we'd start watching now.
What about like diving, something like that?
Diving. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
You total socially distance. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, the water can be, I don't know if it's clean or not, but.
Well, they can just pump a bunch of chlorine in there.
Right. Seems like
Yeah.
that would be good. Diving. Yep. We should bring that back. Freestyle diving or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
You know, we missed the Olympics this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
See, it would be perfect to like do the Olympic social distance style. That'd be totally cool.
The javelin.
I mean, bowling, you could even do
Javelin.
social. So.
You could definitely do javelin, shot put. I mean, all of those ones where it's individual. I mean, obviously you can't do like the decathlon. Well, you could, I guess, in a way. They could make it work. I feel bad. Are they planning on doing the Olympics next year, or what's
I think, yeah.
Because I know Japan built all that infrastructure for it. So, all right. Well, that's our show for the day. I just want to thank our guests, Doug Peterson and Amanda Peterson, no relation.
But we're going to be besties.
But going to be great friends. I appreciate you coming on. I just noticed in the background I've got a little fragile sticker on here. That's kind of funny. That's interesting. I'll probably fix that next time. All right. Well, thank you for watching our show, both online. If you have any questions about real estate, if you have any questions for our guests, you can reach us at the eastsiderealestateteam.com. Thanks for watching Real Talk. Take care. Have a great day.